Hi, everyone. Yes, I am a marine ecologist, but focus on the historical study. So digging into the past of relationships of humans to ecologies and how we've actually shaped the present that we're in now. But I am also a couple other things. I'm also a dancer and still dance professionally. And I'm also a science communicator. So yes, I was trained with the Alan Alda Center, but am now working uh, with some other colleagues and on freelance with various groups, not only scientists, but also other people with expertise. In fact, I'm working with a bunch of religion scholars right now. So I'm finding this all fascinating. And what I'm finding in working with religion scholars, because I was not raised with any religious practice at all. I was raised in a house that did not want religion in it. So it's interesting to be working with people who are studying religion, the big umbrella term of religion. And I'm realizing that it's really about culture. It's really about the history of humanity and societal culture and how various ways of forming community and the beliefs behind those communities are how we've moved through the world. And that relates very closely to why I do the work I do, which is a hybrid practice of looking at marine ecology, looking at local rivers and shorelines, and talking about the local effects of climate change, but doing it through public engagement and artistic practice. So let me break that down a little bit. One of my collaborative projects is specifically taking people on walking tours of a place and having them sensorily imagine what the place was like in the past by walking them through prompts where they're seeing and feeling and hearing what it was like thousands of years ago. And they're standing at the water's edge. So they're imagining what it sounded like before, but they're hearing what it is now and slowly bringing them forward to the present with climate data, with the changes that have happened, but not making it about the facts, not making it about, as Briana said, about that, all that information, trying to make it about what you're feeling, what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're imagining, and what you know from being familiar with a local place. And that gets into the culture. So that gets into what you know of a place, your experience of it, how your community interacts with it, and actually how it's been regulated over time. So there's the history of human interaction with ecology. And then we take them forward into the future, but we take them forward into the future by having them fill out what that future is with their imagination based on learning some of the climate change data, but again, not just the facts. If there's going to be sea level rise, a shoreline area will flood. And if it floods, then some of those sidewalks are going to become canals. So you'll need a boat. So we get people in a boat and we make them row through the canal to get from place to place as we're in the future, which makes them feel how that area would change. Or we talk about how transportation will be more by water than by car. Or we talk about how we may have to figure out new water sources in places where there is drought or where there is flooding and the freshwater sources change. But it's all asking people to use their imagination. And then it invests them into an ownership of what the future of that site will look like. And again, this is also, I think this ties into culture and some of the values that religious communities talk about, which is stewardship of place, right? The stewardship of God's earth. And whether or not it's about a deity who has suggested that you should have this sense of stewardship, you have ownership and pride in your home, whatever that home may be. And it's not always equitable how others decide how that home should be treated. So by ensuring a sense of ownership and that future of that place, by how the climate is being changed and how regulations are or are not benefiting you, then you can start to take ownership and stewardship of your future. And that's the idea behind what I do, is to teach the science, slip it in through artistic experience, actually feeling it, and then imagining how to apply it so that people become advocates for their home. People become advocates for how it might change with climate and with regulation. So that's the nutshell of how I'm applying my science background and my arts background and my science communications background.